Bound in ink and paper, these volumes capture a voyage that reshaped America's view of the world. Written on the title page of one volume is the indication that it is a journal of a cruise in the United States ship Peacock's South Sea surveying exploring expedition. These volumes belonged to William Hudson, who commanded the USS Peacock during the first U.S. scientific exploration of the Antarctic, the South Seas, and the North American coast.
Hudson was the commander of the Peacock, which was one of the ships under the overall command of Charles Wilkes, who from 1838 to 1842 was the commander of the United States exploring expedition. It was one of the largest exploring expeditions ever mounted by the United States and one of the first mounted by the United States Navy.
His ship was eventually wrecked in the Columbia River, but all his men and scientific papers were saved.
And here he talks about the ship being wrecked. In July of 1841, all of the crew and all of the supplies had to be brought ashore and transferred to another one of the ships, the Oregon, and they continued.
One highlight of this journal is the documentation of Hudson's journey from Australia to Antarctica. Interestingly, one of the purposes of the expedition was to bring back specimens, 60,000 in total, which became the foundation for the Smithsonian collection.
The purpose of the exploring expedition was to go to the Pacific Ocean primarily and survey it for the whaling and seal industries. It explored 280 islands in the Pacific.
Goodness.
It explored 800 miles of the Oregon coast.
What truly makes these volumes highly desirable is that they are first-hand accounts, remarkably detailed and comprehensive. Dating back to around the 1840s, these volumes have been meticulously preserved by the Guest's family over the years. It's exceedingly rare to find journals as detailed as these, documenting the first U.S. scientific exploration of the Antarctic. In today's auction market, these vintage volumes that belonged to Commander William Hudson would fetch a price of...
I would estimate it for auction at $15,000 to $20,000. For insurance purposes, I would suggest a figure of $30,000.
Thank you so much. In 10 sentences, you've told me more than I've ever known about this.
Oh, that's terrific.
Standing tall and refined, this piece embodies the elegance of colonial craftsmanship. Purchased at an auction in Louisville about 3 years ago, it immediately caught the guest's eye.
2 or 3 years ago. And now what drew you to this piece?
Well, I grew up in Connecticut.
Okay.
And we had a piece like this in my family, but another sibling got it. And I always wanted to have a highboy.
Sister, brother?
Sister.
Your sister got it.
So I decided that I would love to have one of my own, and I saw this at an auction and just...
And it came up at an auction you've been at?
Yes.
A label on the piece indicates that it was made in Connecticut and dates back to around the 1920s.
The great thing is on the back, the label is a wonderful label. And it's antique shop label from New London, Connecticut. And on there is a 3-digit phone number. So it's probably from the 1920s, 30s.
This item, referred to as a highboy, reflects the transition between the late Baroque and Queen Anne traditions and early Chippendale influence in colonial America. One hallmark of Connecticut highboys, which this piece possesses, is the cabriole leg with pad feet. Connecticut highboys typically display a simpler, lighter aesthetic compared to their Massachusetts and Pennsylvania counterparts. From the bottom up, the highboy features graduated drawers, with the center drawer beautifully adorned with carved pinwheels and a central roundel. Upon removing one drawer from the top section and another from the lower section, the difference in oxidation levels becomes clear, which helps authenticate the piece.
And the great thing about this, the lower section has this oxidized white pine secondary, typical of Connecticut. And that right there is the oxidized color on the underside. This is from the bottom. The top never got any air. It's enclosed, so it didn't get brown. So that's a nice sign of the authenticity.
Additionally, the drawers show matching dovetails and consistent thickness. Crafted from cherry wood, the highboy is further enhanced with brass hardware designed in the form of foliage. Given its high-quality craftsmanship and authenticity, at auction today this piece would be worth...
What did you pay for this piece?
$7,000.
$7,000, okay. We would put an auction estimate on this highboy of about $12,000 to $18,000, possibly $15,000 to $20,000.
I love it.
On display is a collection of porcelain bottles that the guest acquired over the years from various sources.
This is a porcelain snuff bottle that I got online on an auction.
What did you pay?
$75. I hope it's a real old snuff bottle worth more than what I paid for it. And this I got as a snuff bottle, or I thought it was a snuff bottle, but when I got it home, we found out it was a match striker.
And what did you pay for that?
100. There's a mark on the bottom that says Yamanaka, so I think it's worth a little more than what we paid for it. Maybe 300.
Okay. And then this.
And that's a vase that we bought at a local auction, and we paid 200 for it, and I'm just not sure that it's real.
The two bottles closest to the guest are snuff bottles, one of which is an enamel-decorated bisque example. It features tiny pierced sections across its surface, a technically difficult feature to achieve. At auction, this striking little bottle would fetch a price of...
This is actually worth about, for insurance purposes, around $1,000.
The second bottle is made of yellow glass, elegantly carved with a beautiful dragon motif. On the bottom of this piece is a mark indicating that it was once handled by Yamanaka, a major dealer in Chinese and Japanese antiques during the early 20th century. Conservatively, this bottle would fetch a retail price of...
In good condition. There's a few little hairline cracks up here at the top, but it's not worth what you had hoped it was worth. I'm so sorry to say, it's worth $3,000.
Oh my gosh. You are kidding. Oh my gosh.
It's wonderful. It's a great snuff bottle.
Lastly, we have a vase with a distinctive shape that first developed in 18th century China. On the underside, a 6-character mark suggests it's from the Yongzheng period. However, according to the appraiser, this vase was not made during the Yongzheng period, but rather around 1900. Although the marking is misleading, the vase is still a high-quality piece and would easily be worth...
For insurance purposes, I would think it's worth about $5,000.
Oh my gosh.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Small in size but immense in intimacy, these portraits were meant to be held close. The subjects of these portraits are the guests' great-great-great-great-grandparents.
Mary Dark and Joseph Height Manning. They were from Virginia. They were born around 1770. He lived till he was about 46, and she lived till her 60s. And they've been passed down through my family for generations. And that's about all I know about it.
These miniature portraits date to the 18th century, when the art form was popular in America up until the early 19th century, flourishing before the advent of photography. American miniatures of this period were typically less ornate than their European counterparts, focusing more on likeness than decorative flourish. They served as personal keepsakes, often exchanged between loved ones, and used as tokens of affection, remembrance, or status.
And they were probably made as wedding gifts to each other. What's so nice is that they have remained together. Often we see splits, and it's very different to see a pair of miniatures.
These particular portraits are painted in watercolor on ivory, the standard medium by the late 18th century, which had replaced vellum. Both are housed in simple frames that are portable and could even be worn as jewelry. The artists employed meticulous brushwork with tiny strokes to render delicate facial features, hair, and clothing details. Ivory miniatures are highly sensitive to moisture and cracking, conditions that these two miraculously lack, making them even more valuable. As a pair, these 18th century miniatures, with their strong provenance and excellent condition, would sell for
Of about $9,000.
That's great.
They're really lovely. If you wouldn't mind taking off your glasses, because you look so similar. I mean, there's a very strong family resemblance that has remained throughout. You look exactly like him.
Okay.
Shaped from clay and spirit, this figure reflects both artistry and storytelling.
I have a friend who had birds in her attic, and she asked me to help her clean it out. She told me to throw everything out, and I decided that I'd go and ask her to make sure, because I saw some things up there. And she said, no, it's all trash, throw it out. So I kept this and a few other pieces.
It originated from a Pueblo village in New Mexico, Cochiti, renowned for its pottery traditions. By the late 19th century, Cochiti potters had developed a distinctive style of figurative pottery, often humorous, satirical, or socially observant. These figures were typically created for sale to the growing Anglo tourist market following the arrival of the railroad, which introduced new audiences to Pueblo art.
And these figures were made strictly to sell to the tourist. And they started making them pretty early. This one was probably made 1890, 1900, right in there.
The piece on display here is made from hand-coiled clay, coated in a white slip, and decorated with painted designs in natural mineral and black pigments. Dating to around 1895, it served as both social commentary and entertainment for Pueblo and Anglo audiences alike. Such figures are sometimes referred to as cochiti monos, a term used by early collectors. They represent an early form of cross-cultural exchange, blending Pueblo artistic traditions with satirical responses to encroaching Anglo-American culture. Unfortunately, one of the feet on this figure is broken, a condition that can affect its value at auction. Nonetheless, over the years, pieces like this have become highly valuable, and it's not far-fetched to imagine this one being worth.
It would bring somewhere 3,000 to 5,000.
Kidding, right?
No, I'm not kidding. And there are some bigger ones, but this is a great one. And I mean, I'm even talking with the broken foot, it's worth that.
Wow. It's a hot, sweaty day up there. I'm glad I did now.
Yeah. Paid off in the end, huh?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
With bold lines and layered washes, this work reflects the restless energy of mid-century art. This is a painting by Jimmy Ernst, acquired by the guest from her husband, who's also an artist.
And his drawing professor was moving from Nebraska and gave us a selection of pieces. And when we got this from him, he said that Jimmy Ernst was doing a mural for a bank in Lincoln, Nebraska, where his professor had been working, and he bought it from Ernst at that time. So we've probably had it for around 30 years.
Ernst was a German-born American painter, the son of Dada and Surrealist artist Max Ernst and art historian Louise Strauss Ernst. He immigrated to the United States in 1938 and became a significant figure in the New York School of Abstract Expressionism.
But when he came to New York, he got a job at MoMA through various connections of his family, and then he became Peggy Guggenheim's personal assistant. So he certainly made more connections there and was involved and influenced by a lot of different art. So at that time, he finally decided he wanted to become a painter, but he would do it in his own way, and they were often quite bizarre.
While connected to the European avant-garde through his lineage, Jimmy developed his own distinct style, more lyrical and controlled than many of his peers. This particular painting is executed in watercolor and gouache, allowing him to combine layered translucency with opaque structural elements. Dated 1959, it demonstrates the interplay of geometric precision with fluid, organic movement. His surfaces reveal an almost architectural balance, using line, shape, and planes of color to create rhythm and depth. Though often smaller in scale than his oil paintings, his watercolor and gouache works highlight his draftsman's precision and remain highly collectible. In today's auction market, Jimmy Ernst's paintings are very popular, and this piece would easily bring a price of...
The value would be $5,000.
That's nice.
Before television slogans, this banner served as the billboard of its time, public, bold, and deeply personal. This political banner has been passed down through the guest's family for generations.
My father's grandmother, my great-grandmother, gave to him. Her name was Sophronia Lincoln Angel, and her parents were from the Lincoln family, and she collected political memorabilia. Each generation has had a caretaker for it. It's my turn now.
It dates to the 1844 presidential election between James K. Polk and Henry Clay. James K. Polk was the 11th President of the United States, serving from 1845 to 1849. A protege of Andrew Jackson and a member of the Democratic Party, he was a strong advocate of Jacksonian democracy and American expansionism. Henry Clay, on the other hand, was an American lawyer and statesman who represented Kentucky in both the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives. He served as the 7th Speaker of the House, as well as the 9th Secretary of State. The 1844 election was a contentious one, with Clay, the Whig Party candidate, making his third run for presidency. At the time, the central issues of the campaign were slavery and manifest destiny, with each candidate holding sharply different views. This banner is crafted from simple cotton muslin. and still retains its original iron handles, along with the maker's mark. Given its provenance and significance as an important piece of political memorabilia, this banner would fetch an auction price of...
I would put this at auction between $5,000 and $7,000.
Oh, great, great.
So thanks for bringing it in. It's really great.
My pleasure.
With layers of color fused in fire, this vase glows with the brilliance of the Art Deco era. At first glance, we see that it's clearly signed at the top by the maker, Camille Faure. Faure was a French enamel artist based in Limoges, the historic center of enamel production. He gained recognition during the Art Deco period of the 1920s and 1930s for his pioneering use of thick, vividly colored enamels applied to copper forms. His work became celebrated for bridging traditional Limoges techniques with modernist Art Deco design.
And this is a wonderful example of his work. And it was made in Limoges. And Limoges, a lot of people know for porcelain.
Correct.
But actually, Limoges started making enamel on copper in the 12th century. And they made it from the 12th century. There was some disruptions because of wars in the 14th and 15th century. But then in the late 15th and early 16th century, they continued to make enameled on copper works. And they make them to this day.
Typical of Faure's creations, this vase is constructed from copper, then layered with powdered glass enamel, fired multiple times to achieve both depth and brilliance.
This technique is very difficult to pull off.
Okay.
To fire this enamel, which is like a glass paste, on the copper. If you overfired it, the whole thing could melt and it would just slip down.
Faure perfected a technique of high-relief, cloisonné-like enamel application, giving his surfaces a sculptural quality. Interestingly, the rim and base of this vase show visible corrosion, a natural result of its silver foundation aging over time. Today, Faure is considered one of the most important Art Deco enamelists of Limoges, and his works are highly sought after. Given the collectability of Faure's art and the exceptional craftsmanship of this piece, this vase would be worth...
A piece like this at auction would bring between $5,000 and $7,000.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding. Oh, jeez. I wasn't expecting that one. Oh my goodness.
Not every doll from the early 20th century was meant to be pretty or perfect. Sometimes charm lay in capturing the humor of everyday moods. This is a Kewpie doll, crafted by Rose O'Neal, the American illustrator and writer who invented the Kewpie character in 1909. Kewpies, which first appeared in Ladies' Home Journal, quickly became a cultural phenomenon and were produced as bisque dolls in Germany before World War I.
Very good quality bisque porcelain may be made by a company called Hertwig, which was a German company that produced lots of nice little novelty figures. This particular Kewpie, the Kewpie collectors call it down on his luck. So I guess he was expecting one baby and ended up with two.
This particular piece is a rare action Kewpie figure, distinct from the more common standing or seated models. Furthermore, it's made from porcelain and depicts a child Kewpie figure with two baby figures at its sides. On the back of this Kewpie, we can see the blue wings, a hallmark of original Kewpie dolls. Interestingly, this piece embodies Rose O'Neal's playful and humanistic philosophy. Kewpies were meant to spread kindness and humor, even when down on their luck. Additionally, it represents the golden age of American toys, when dolls shifted from purely decorative objects to expressive storytelling pieces. The condition of this doll is outstanding, still retaining its original hand-painted soft pastel tones. At auction, this Kewpie doll in its current condition would command a price of...
It would probably retail between $4,000 and $5,000.
Really?
Yeah, really. I mean, it's a very rare action Kewpie. So down on his luck isn't so down on his luck at all.
Oh my heavens. She will have, will have a place of honor in my
Cool.
home.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Richard. Woo!
Simple in form yet rich in tradition, this silver cup embodies Southern rituals of hospitality. It was crafted by Edward B. Kendrick, an American silversmith active in Louisville, Kentucky, during the mid-19th century. Kendrick was among the notable Southern silversmiths whose work reflected regional traditions, refined yet practical goods. This mint julep cup became a quintessential symbol of Southern hospitality, especially in Kentucky, where it was closely tied to bourbon culture. Made from coin silver, the cup features a cylindrical, tapering body with a slightly flared lip. Its design is simple yet elegant, minimally embellished in keeping with mid-19th century tastes. On the underside, the maker's mark is clearly visible, further enhancing its value. Collectors prize pieces like this for their iconic American appeal, and today it's estimated to be worth
a good one like this today, at auction, it would probably bring by itself close to $2,000.
A cherished family treasure since 1962, a vibrant painting by Angel Boteo captures the three kings, the Virgin Mary and the Christ Child. This painting graced the guest's Puerto Rican home, a vibrant reminder of their friendship with Boteo and his wife.
My parents and him and his wife, Christian Boteo, were dear friends. We would hang out on weekends together.
Boteo, born in Spain in 1913, moved to France in the 1920s, where he studied architecture until 1935. From the Spanish Civil War to the Caribbean, he found inspiration in Haiti before settling in Puerto Rico in 1953. His art vividly captures Caribbean life through angular forms, vibrant colors, and a celebration of local traditions. Celebrating rather than imposing colonial narratives, the painting in question reflects his unique perspective.
So he's almost like a Spanish colonial painter. He paints from a perspective not of a colonialist, but as part of the society. So when we look at this, what does this depict, for example?
The artwork is an oil on a wooden panel, likely framed in a style consistent with Boteo's own preferences. While it does not bear a title or date on the back, its origins are traced to the early 1960s. Due to its size, historical significance, and the rarity of similar works, it is valued for insurance purposes at approximately.
This artwork, if you were going to insure it, I would insure it for $100,000.
Our guest, an occupational therapist working with trauma patients, shared that thrifting became her way of coping with stress, especially during the pandemic. One morning, she stumbled upon a painting at Goodwill, noticing a small plaque on it that
Saturday morning, it had been kind of a stressful day at work. I was at Goodwill first thing in the morning, and I kind of saw it in the painting section. I noticed there was a little plaque here.
She decided to buy it for just $15.99. The appraiser identified the painting as the work of Le Feu, a renowned Vietnamese artist born in 1907.
So Le Feu was born in North Vietnam in 1907. Vietnam was French occupied at the time.
Le Feu had three artistic phases, and this piece is from his Finlay period in the 1960s, characterized by impressionistic family scenes and broader brushstrokes. Titled Cueillette de Pomme Cannelle, cinnamon apple picking, the painting is signed and in a desirable size, making it highly sought after by collectors. The appraiser valued the piece at auction.
Generally sell in the 60 to 80,000 range at auction. Wow.
For insurance purposes, the appraiser recommended a value closer to.
You'd probably want to insure it for closer to $100,000. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Our guest shared a painting by William Henry Johnson, a renowned African-American artist from Florence, South Carolina, born in 1901. Johnson studied art in New York City at the National Academy of Design under notable teachers.
He saved up enough money to go to New York City and study at the National Academy of Design.
In the 1920s, Johnson traveled to France, where he was deeply influenced by expressionist painters, especially.
And he was very influenced by the French artists that he met there, particularly an artist named Haïm Soutine.
This painting shown was created in 1928 during his stay in Cagnes-sur-Mer, marking it as one of Johnson's early works. The appraiser explained that the artist's later work shifted towards depicting African-American life, using simple, vibrant colors inspired by Danish folk art, through his wife's influence. Although the painting has some condition issues, including cracking and loose canvas, it remains in overall good shape and retains Johnson's authentic signature. In its current state, the appraiser estimated the painting's retail value to be at.
This painting would sell for $80,000 to $120,000.
The piece was purchased by the guest at a Goodwill store for under $20.
I got it about 15 years ago or so at a Goodwill store.
I think it was under $20.
Presented here is a world map created by the renowned Dutch cartographer Willem Blauw. Blauw, celebrated for his work as a cartographer, globe maker and publisher, greatly influenced the art and science of map making during the Dutch Golden Age of exploration. Born in Alkmaar, Netherlands, he studied under the famed astronomer Tycho Brahe in Denmark, igniting his passion for precision in mapping. In 1596, Blauw established a publishing house in Amsterdam, producing highly detailed maps, globes, and atlases revered for their artistry and accuracy. This image is one of Blauw's most famous world maps, which led to numerous reproductions over the centuries. Upon close examination, the appraiser noted a ridge along the edges, suggesting the impression of an original plate mark.
There's a ridge, and that is a plate mark. And it's a good-looking plate mark.
When removed from the frame, it was clear that the map had been glued to a board, and a centerfold was felt, which supports the authenticity of a 17th century original.
Okay, it looks flat because it's been glued down. There was a centerfold there. Looking at that, looking at the plate mark.
The appraiser concluded that this is likely an original 1640 Blauw map, with the cartographer's name and the date 1630 indicating its initial publication in Amsterdam. All colouring on the map was applied by hand, matching the characteristics of Blauw's meticulous works.
Is that all hand-colored?
That's hand-colored. It's an engraving. It would have been printed in black and white.
In its current condition, despite being laid down, this rare piece by Willem Blauw would have an auction value of.
Even in this condition, it's worth $10,000 in a shop.
Holy cow.
Displayed at this time is a scrapbook, an item that holds different meanings for different people. This scrapbook belonged to Clyde Millan, the grandfather of our guest. Clyde Millan, also known as Deerfoot, was an American professional baseball player who played in the major leagues from 1907 to 1922. The scrapbook features a photograph of Walter Johnson, who was recruited at the same time as Clyde Millan.
Walter Johnson, of course, one of the winningest pitchers of all time, Hall of Fame pitcher.
Right. Walter Johnson, also known as the Big Train, was a legendary American professional baseball player. They both played for the Washington Senators, with Millan going on to become a player-manager for the Senators.
He was an outfielder for the Senators from 1907 till 1922 when he became a manager player for.
The Washington Senators were a professional baseball team that played in Washington, D.C. from 1901 to 1960. This scrapbook contains several photos and newspaper articles about the life of Clyde Millan and his associates during their playing days. Most important among them is a document containing a petition against Carl Mays by the Cleveland Baseball Club. This petition was signed by several members of the team after a ball thrown by Carl Mays killed a member of their team, Ray Chapman.
After one of their teammates, Ray Chapman, had been hit in the head with a baseball thrown by Carl Mays.
Considering the history behind this amazing scrapbook, without this piece of paper, it would command a fee of.
Players on the team that you'll see here, including the pitcher of that game for Cleveland, Stan Kovaleski, who signed this saying they would not step foot in the field ever again.
While the petition paper itself, because of its historical value, will attract a price of.
I'd put an auction estimate of $800 to $1,200 on it, okay?
Our guest brought in 17 colourful posters from the 1930s, which were originally discovered in his grandfather's attic in Plainfield, New Jersey. These posters, known as work incentive posters, were designed to motivate traveling salesmen.
These posters are all from 1935, and what they are is a genre of posters that are called work incentive posters.
The appraiser explained that these posters were printed by the Sheldon Clare Company, and
these were printed in Chicago by the Sheldon Clare Company. The historical record says the company began in the 1930s.
Each poster carried motivational slogans like "Turn more and you'll sell more," and "Winning an argument may lose a sale," focusing on productivity over confrontation. A standout piece featured Rodin's Thinker with zeppelins and airplanes in the background, emphasizing that.
This one with an image of Rodin's Thinker. Thought is essential to business development. The thinker wins. And this is a great image. It's got zeppelins and airplanes.
The appraiser noted that these posters were part of a weekly series, with each poster representing 1 week of the year, making them both rare and historically significant. While the guest estimated the collection's value at $500, the appraiser revealed they were worth.
The total for that is between $6,800 and $10,200 for those 17.
Wow, that's crazy.
Art lovers are known for acquiring and preserving artworks, often with the intention of building a collection that holds personal significance. We have here a collection of great works belonging to a famous guest, Ruben Blades. Ruben Blades is one of the most influential and successful Latin American singer-songwriters and actors. This collection features a work titled Flash Gordon by Mac Raboy. Macroboy, a mysterious and introverted American comic book artist and illustrator, was best known for his work on the Fawcett comic series Captain Marvel.
Macroboy, he took over for Alex Raymond, the originator, when Raymond went into the service.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a great piece.
This Flash Gordon comic image will generate a price of...
This is probably somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000.
Oh, wow. The next item is an amazing artwork created by Frank Frazetta.
Oh, Frank Frazetta. He's the godfather of fantasy.
Frank Frazetta was an iconic American science fiction and fantasy artist known for his influential paintings that helped define the genre. This piece features a struggle for survival between a snake and a tiger. This amazing drawing by Frazetta will command a price of...
Your drawing here probably is in the range of $25,000 to $35,000.
Wow. Lastly, from this collection, we have the original artwork for Punk magazine, featuring Lou Reed on the cover. Lou Reed was an American musician, singer, songwriter, and poet, known as a key figure in the rock industry. The value of this piece, which features the image of Lou Reed, will attract a price of...
I think you're looking at probably somewhere between $20,000 and $25,000.
This book is not a book of spells or a history book.
You brought in this atlas, Johnson's Family Atlas, with the date 1863.
It's an early atlas that shows the map of the state of Virginia. Basically, an atlas is a book that contains a collection of maps that are bound together. Interestingly, the atlas here is dated 1863, which was the year that West Virginia became a state. Additionally, the atlas was made to differentiate between Union and Confederate states. However, the makers couldn't keep up with the evolving changes. What's more, it would have been seen as treason to recognize a Confederate state in the atlas.
The makers of this atlas just couldn't keep up with the changes as to what was Union territory, what was Confederate territory.
Nonetheless, the condition of this atlas is still in top, crisp shape.
And then this one is in very good condition. Okay. So you've got a fine piece here.
Furthermore, it's a historical piece since it is the earliest map that mentions Virginia. At auction, because of how iconic this atlas is, it could fetch.
Nowadays, I'd say an atlas like this is worth about $2,200 to $2,500.
Imagine owning a collection of one of the greatest music groups to ever exist. Well, that's exactly what this collection of photographs and a bag is. The collection consists of photographs and a bag that belonged to the Beatles. The Beatles were a famous English rock band formed in 1960 in Liverpool. This collection marked the Beatles' second trip to the United States.
Well, what you have here is a collection of 24 photographs from their second American tour.
Interestingly, there are 24 photographs that also show the Beatles in 1965. Plus, there is also a Beatles bag, which was a sensation back in the day.
There are probably more than 10 of these bags made. They were provided to the group, of course, personalized with their own name.
Most fans at the time thought the bag was rare, however, it's not. Nevertheless, this doesn't affect the fact that this is an iconic collection. Thus, if it were to come up at a suitable auction, an estimate would be
about $2,720 and $3,600 at auction.
Okay.
Our guest brought a collection of artwork created by her uncle, Roy Dean DeForest, a renowned artist. Her earliest memories include sitting with him, doodling at the kitchen table where they exchanged artistic ideas.
My earliest memories of him are sitting at the kitchen table, doodling.
This specific collection, made in the late 1950s, was created while DeForest worked at an iron foundry in Richmond. Inspired by a children's book idea from the guest's mother, he drew illustrations for a dark story about a mischievous tooth fairy named Chlorophyll. These vibrant, imaginative artworks remained unseen by the public, only viewed by close family members. The appraiser admired the energetic composition and noted that DeForest's style.
Sometimes early work doesn't look like anything that's coming next, and this really is quite mature.
This 13-piece collection, done in gouache on paperboard, was valued at
An insurance value of maybe $40,000 for the collection of 13.
Our guest humorously shared that wearing one of DeForest's shirts makes her feel like he still has her back. Our guest discovered these tiles at an estate sale, hidden in a water-soaked box inside a storage shed. At first, she thought the tiles might be Pennsylvania Dutch in origin. However, the appraiser revealed that the tiles were actually made by Moore & Company in a small factory near his hometown. Interestingly, the appraiser once worked at the same tile works, restoring and researching similar tiles. He admired the craftsmanship and vibrant colors of the tiles, noting that they had never been installed or placed in mortar. These tiles' pristine condition and historical value make them highly desirable among collectors. The appraiser estimated that, if presented in an antique shop, this set could be priced at
Certainly it would be priced at about perhaps $1,000.
Our guest presented a pocket watch that once belonged to his grandfather, William Butler Ferris, a British consul in Aden in the 1890s. Ferris was awarded this watch by the King of Italy as recognition for helping negotiate the release of Italian prisoners of war in Abenicia. This watch was crafted by Le Coutre, a renowned Swiss watchmaker, and features dual complications, a minute repeater and a chronograph. The minute repeater chimes the hours, quarters and minutes, allowing time to be read even in the dark. A unique aspect is the original box, which enables the watch to chime from inside when a cord is pulled, an uncommon feature. Though the original chain was sold during the 1930s to fund education,
my grandfather had to pay for my father and his brother's public school education, so he sold the chain in the 30s.
The appraiser highlighted the watch's superb condition, original box and matching replacement chain as elements that add to its value.
And it fits into the box so well and really is exactly the type of style that I would expect to see at this type of watch from this period.
If offered at auction, the appraiser estimated it could fetch over.
I really believe you'd be looking at a final figure in excess of $20,000 for it.
Wow.
This elegant French doll was brought from France in 1868 and belonged to the owner's great-aunt who never married. The doll, made between 1868 and 1870, has a rich history and comes with a special wardrobe. Each piece of clothing was made during the same period, preserving its authenticity. The doll is identified as an FG doll, crafted by François Gauthier.
The doll is what we call an FG doll. It was made by François Gauthier.
Its body features fabric and a metal armature, while its hands and legs are beautifully molded from bisque. The doll's clothing includes a unique fan pocket, original buttons, a purse, and a hat.
The clothing, there's a body of fabric with a metal armature.
Despite minor damage, such as a replaced foot and a crack on the breastplate, the doll's value remains high. The appraiser estimated its retail value at
Put a value of $5,000.
$5,000. Oh my goodness.
An old rug hides a rich story. Bought in a market in the 1980s, it found a home.
I believe he picked it up in Peru or Ecuador in about the 80s, he and his wife.
It stayed in the family for years and passed down after its owner died in 2008, but its story began long before. In 1942, a workshop was born. It gave artisans fair pay and creative freedom.
A workshop that's called Olga Fish. It was a woman, Olga Fish, who started a workshop in Ecuador in 1942.
Rug weaving, a new craft in the region, took shape. Traditional designs mixed with modern ideas. The Caballito design, made in the 1970s, reflected this blend. A piece of both history and innovation.
And one of the things they made were rugs, which is not a traditional Ecuadorian craft.
The label proudly reveals its origin, a stunning creation from folklore crafted in the heart of Quito. Today, this exquisite piece is worth between $7,000 and $7,500, a testament to its artistry and allure.
I actually think the value is somewhere $7,000, $7,500 in that sort of range. So it's a beautiful thing. So thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
About 3 or 4 years ago, the guest bought a house previously owned by the son of Hugh Dupree, the founder of Herman Miller. A neighbor offered to sell them a Herman Miller bedroom set, which included this chest.
And a neighbor came by and she said that she was selling some Herman Miller bedroom furniture.
The house, designed by George Nelson in 1946, inspired the purchase of matching George Nelson furniture. This chest, designed in 1946, debuted at the Grand Rapids Summer Market in 1947 and appeared in the 1948 catalogue. It was produced for about a decade, with customizable drawers and optional legs or bench support, reflecting post-war design.
Replacing Gilbert Roding died as the design director at Herman Miller. Your chest here was designed in 1946.
Made from Primavera wood, it features aluminium handles and still carries the original Herman Miller decal from the mid-1950s. Our guest paid $1,500 for the chest, knowing its value from the seller, whose uncle worked at Herman Miller. According to the appraiser, the chest value is at
Modest retail value would be in the neighborhood of $1,200 to $1,500.
Okay.
This guest presents a wonderful memorabilia collection inherited from her father, Ari Bresterberg.
So I brought some of my dad's World War II memorabilia. He was a Dutch Jedburgh, a special ops soldier.
He was a Dutch Jedburgh, a special ops soldier during World War II, credited with saving General Gavin's life in Holland during the war.
He spotted a machine gunist in a tree and shot him before the machine gunners had a chance to shoot General Gavin.
The Dutch Special Forces, known as the Korpskommandotroepen (KTC), were an elite unit of the Royal Netherlands Army. They are highly trained for various operations, including counterterrorism, reconnaissance, and unconventional warfare. Coincidentally, we have a volunteer on the show whose grandfather was General Gavin. He instantly recollected the story after meeting the guest. Of the entire collection presented by the guest, this little handkerchief stands out as the antique piece of the collection. These handkerchiefs are often used as part of the KTC's tradition and operational gear. They serve practical purposes, such as wiping sweat, signaling, or even acting as makeshift bandages. Additionally, they carry distinctive patterns or insignia that represent the unit, as seen in the presented piece. The insignia is symbolic in fostering camaraderie among members and signaling their affiliation. The handkerchief bears the signature of some fellow comrades. But what truly enhances its value is the wings insignia. Presented in excellent condition, the provenance and rarity of this piece suggest it would have a retail value of.
You have in the neighborhood of $10,000 worth of cloth insignia right there on that table.
No way.
In Iraq in 2006 to 2007, he spotted the Defenders #1, page 1 online and bought it for around $7,000. Created by writer Roy Thomas and artist Ross Andrew, this comic introduced heroes outside the traditional superhero mold. The Defenders, an informal alliance, tackled mystical threats with a darker anti-establishment tone, reflecting early 1970s cultural shifts. The original Defenders lineup featured Doctor Strange, the Hulk, and Namor the Submariner.
Whereas when the Defenders first came, your three initial members are the Incredible Hulk, Doctor Strange, and Namor the Submariner.
Ross Andrews' artwork in the Defenders #1 added a gritty style that enhanced its supernatural themes. Andrews' art highlighted the characters' emotions and the darkness of their enemies. Roy Thomas's writing added philosophical depth, exploring existentialism and personal responsibility. Appreciating its artistic significance, the appraiser valued the item.
I would put a catalog estimate on it of $15,000 to $20,000.
Whoa.
This icebox is not only a charming find, but also a unique piece of history. Discovered at an antique store in Washington for just $25, it resembles a child's toy and has become a centerpiece in the speaker's home. Accompanying it is a fantastic Memphis-style ice bucket designed by George Briard.
Really fantastic Memphis-style ice bucket by Georges Briard. He was an American designer active in the 20th century.
A notable American designer from the 20th century. Although the style shares a name with the Tennessee city, it originated in Italy and became popular in the 1980s. Despite being crafted from plastic, it exudes a fabulous aesthetic. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
I would insure this for $500.
No.
Orientalism emerged in the 19th century, captivating both artists and audiences. Vincent Stipovich, the Russian-born artist, created the artwork featured on today's show.
She's just lovely. It's by an artist whose name is Stipovich. Now, there is a plaque here.
A chance visit to the family friend's home led to our guest being gifted this stunning Orientalist painting. The painting depicts a Western woman in an exotic Middle Eastern setting, epitomizing Orientalism. Orientalism, popular during the 19th century, sparked a fascination with the Middle East.
The Orientalists were popular for most of the second half of the 19th century.
Signed in the upper right corner and with a plaque, the painting's authenticity is confirmed. The frame, acquired for $5, beautifully complements the elegance of the painting. Stipovich's skillful brushstrokes transport viewers into an enchanting world.
There was a great interest in the Middle East. People traveled to the Middle East.
In fact, the painting's story is intertwined with our guest's personal history of acquiring it. The initial investment was just $35, but in today's market, this stunning piece will fetch.
Today, a very fair auction estimate on this painting would be between $15,000 and $20,000.
Wow.
The guest presented a collection of illustrations acquired from her uncle. The pieces were created by Zdenek Burian, a Czech artist from Moravia. The appraiser provided background on Burian, noting his success as an illustrator by the mid-1920s. His work included illustrations for prominent authors like Robert Louis Stevenson and Zane Grey, as well as for various Czech and English language publications. The appraiser identified one piece as an oil painting on illustration board. The painting had minor flaws.
This sort of has some pluses and minuses to it.
The next illustration was a color gouache featuring a contemplative figure in vibrant colors, praised for its quality and visual appeal. The third piece was a monochromatic gouache in grisé, or shades of gray, depicting a dramatic scene of rushing water. Though less desirable than the color gouache, this piece retained value due to its compelling subject matter. Altogether, the collection was valued at an estimated
At auction, you'd probably be looking at about $8,000 to $10,000 for the bunch.
Wow.
A striking Currier and Eves print depicting Lookout Mountain surfaced from a family collection.
We have a picture of Lookout Mountain. This came out of your husband's grandmother's family, is that right?
Yes.
It originally belonged to the husband's ancestors, who lived in the Lookout Mountain area. This original large folio print is considered one of the finest regional works by Currier and Ives. The famed publisher was celebrated for capturing the beauty of American landscapes in remarkable detail, given the popularity of train-themed prints. The image features a train, which enhances its desirability among collectors. With excellent color quality and historical significance tied to the family's roots in the region, the print carries considerable value. However, some areas of the print require cleaning and restoration to enhance its presentation. After restoration, the value could increase to approximately.
So then it would be worth about $6,000 to $6,500.
Okay.
That would also help preserve it.
A collection of dollhouse furniture, originally purchased in the early 1940s, tells a heartwarming story of familial intention. The furniture was acquired by a father who planned to build a dollhouse for his child. Though the dollhouse was never built amid his busy law career, the furniture stayed pristine, nestled in its original boxes. This set transforms any dollhouse into a cozy home, complete with a living room, kitchen, dining room, and bedrooms. Crafted by Tootsie Toy, a Chicago toy maker, this collection beautifully captures the essence of 1930s design.
And what's interesting about Doust and Tootsie Toy was they were able to find an economic way to mass-produce furniture.
Tootsie Toy, under the Doubts name, cleverly revolutionized the mass production of toy furniture. Remarkably, an original price tag reveals the entire set cost just $1.25 at the time of purchase. Die-cast metal furniture showcases intricate designs with flocked surfaces for a soft, elegant touch. Showcasing era charm, the kitchen set boasts a monitor-top fridge and Hoosier cupboard.
They have a monitor-top refrigerator. They have the type of stove they would use in a day, a Hoosier-type looking cupboard.
With 8 sets in total, an auction estimate for the entire collection ranges from.
An auction estimate would be $2,500 to $3,000 for everything because you have all 8 of these.
A vibrant shadow box captures the spirit of the America's Cup race, a storied competition between the US and Great Britain. The artwork commemorates a specific victory in 1885, when the American yacht Puritan triumphed over its British rivals. Notably, the Puritan was associated with Boston, and it was owned by John Forbes, a wealthy and successful Bostonian. This cherished piece has passed through 4 generations, from great-grandfather to the mother to the guest.
This has been in my family for 4 generations. My grandfather got it from his father. My mother gave it to me.
The artwork is likely from the period between 1885 and 1900 and features a background made of an artist's board. Sewn and appliqued sails billow above vibrant figures on deck, charming cutouts adorned with painted details and sparkling mica. Expertly painted to capture the choppy waters the Puritan sailed, the sea is depicted with crinkled paper. A whimsical touch graces the piece with a playful inscription reading "Winner of the American Cup" instead of the America's Cup. An auction estimate for this charming piece ranges between
something in the range of $4,000 to $6,000 would be an auction estimate.
We have a pictorial needlework that was completed by the great-great-grandmother of our guest.
This needlework was completed by my great-great-grandmother.
This needlework depicts a school, St. Joseph Academy, in a beautifully made scene.
The school that she attended was started by a very important lady in the field of Catholic schools.
St. Joseph Academy was the first Catholic school for girls in the United States, founded in 1810 by Elizabeth Ann Seton. Elizabeth Ann Seton was the first U.S.-born citizen to be given the title of saint. Mother Seton was canonized by Pope Paul VI.
And Elizabeth Seton was born in 1774. At the age of 28, she found herself widowed with 5 children.
This school, founded by Elizabeth, was located in a town named Emmitsburg, 50 miles outside of Baltimore. Initially, the main house in the pictorial scene was called St. Joseph House, but was later changed to St. Joseph College. Interestingly, this pictorial needlework of the school features Emmitsburg in the background. This wonderful needlework is said to have been made by the students in the school between 1821 and 1822 using silk material. There is a reward of merit, a premium, alongside this piece given to the artist for excellent work, dated July 3, 1822. Scholars have speculated that the background of this piece may have been made by the teachers while the students did the embroidery. Considering the uniqueness and high quality of this pictorial needlework, it is expected to fetch a price of.
I think today what we're going to do is place an insurance valuation on this of $50,000.
A striking Chinese porcelain bowl with a copper-red glaze and white rim was inherited from the guest grandfather. The bowl features a collector's label indicating it originated from an old collection. A rain mark on the underside, Da King Kanxi Nianqi, indicates this piece was crafted during the Qing dynasty under Emperor Kangji.
Kangxi Nianzhi, made in the Qing dynasty during the reign of the Emperor Kangxi.
Crafted at the imperial kilns in Jingdazhen, this bowl stands as an authentic treasure, significantly boosting its value. Unique in shape, the bowl stands apart from the typical flared rim or flat saucer forms of its era. This distinctive design suggests it may have served a ritualistic purpose during the Kangxi period, though the exact function remains a mystery. Referred to as sacrificial red, the glaze is evenly applied and visually stunning. With only a handful of comparable pieces known, this bowl is valued between.
It would carry a pre-sale estimate of $30,000 to $50,000.
Oh, dear goodness.